And the recording crashed. Luckily, it crashed all of OBS, but the recording got saved beforehand. So I just had to start a new one. Also, Puma, what is sexual? The rosaries? The rosaries are sexual? What are you talking about? And yes, Daniel, I would love to see the rosaries. If you post them in the Christian channel, I'm sure Faith and them would like to see them as well. If you post them in the Christian Talk channel in Discord. I have it open here, Christianity Talk. Are we done buffering? Are we there? Are we good? Hello? Hello, hello? Is it back? You're back. Which one is the Christian channel? Just put it in Christianity Talk. What is this? Mayo? Mermaid Man? You have a Mermaid Man emote, Puma? The Mayo one. I know the Mayo one. That one's good. I didn't know you had a Mermaid Man. Also, ignore SB being a douchebag in the Christianity Talk channel. That's just how he is. There they go. Okay, let's see here. I love the red one. That crucifix, or it's much more Eastern than I thought. It's beautiful though. It is. I don't see it very often. The red one? Yeah, I love the red one. No, just No, not the red ones. The green and brown one. Love the red one though. Love the gold cross. Love it. Oh, you can see it. So I got this one. This is what's this crucifix on, and then I got a little deacon cardinal. Deacon cardinal from Italy. It's a red one. Oh, and when I go out, I have my I put my purity ring on there, but I don't put it on in the house because I don't want it. Yeah, it's a Celtic cross. You're right. It is. It's what the Eastern Orthodox uses. Back, yeah. The Celtic cross is what the Eastern Orthodox wears. I know that because my cousin-in-law is a priest for the Eastern Orthodox Church. Very nice man. He's a very nice man. Yes. Like Catholicism, they're not supposed to be married, but he converted from, like, a different religion while he was already married, and then they created an exception, blah, blah, blah. That, you know the gist, how it works when you... Yeah. He's a very nice man, though. Did you ever look into Eastern Orthodoxy? At some point, it is very interesting to study. I like studying all sects of Christianity. Catholicism, Eastern Orthodox, Protestantism. I even looked into the non-canon books of the Bible. I mean, it's all interesting to me. It's all, I find it all very interesting, so... I love to study the Old Testament, personally. Recently, I was at two conferences. You might find this interesting. I was at two conferences. One how AI affects like the soul, being like it's creating sexualized. Um, how AI is, and oh my goodness, Daniel, you'll have listen to this. It's crazy. So I'm a computer scientist. I have a degree in computer science and software engineering. So I got sent to this conference with priests and stuff. I was at a university. It was at a Catholic university. So here I come, and my mentor, he's also a computer scientist, a deacon and a computer scientist. I followed in his footsteps. I know. So we go in and we describe how AI is made, you know, how it's programmed and how it works. And one of the priests is like, well, it's like the cell phone, right? It's like the devil in your cell phone. And we're like, no, it's not. It's not like the devil in your cell phone. It's a program, and if it makes like nude art, and because they were having a conference of how nude art should be categorized as a sin if it's made by AI, and we determined that it's only a sin if it's not for your direct partner, and if you made the AI to then make it for your partner. Sounds strange, but that was their conclusion. But anyway, so the art teacher at the university comes in, and he says, how is AI affecting the art world? And we explained it to him, and I feel so bad for this man, because there was a lot of freshmen at the university at our conference, and the art teacher said it's like sex with robots, right? And everyone started laughing. I will never forget. I felt so bad. I felt so bad for him. I did. It's terrible. It was terrible. And then what was the other one? Yes, the other conference I went to. I went to a Old Testament conference, okay? And you know, I am very much into the Old Testament. I love to see how stuff is done in the past. And the conference I was just listening to, it was over how the biblical story of Noah overlaps with the legend of Gilgamesh. And basically, they tried to show how all of these references are in the Old Testament to the story of Gilgamesh. And it was, I mean, it was pretty convincing. There was some pretty interesting things in there. I after seeing the conference, I could say both of them maybe happened during the same time period, or happened at the same time. You know, Gilgamesh having a great flood, he had to partake, and what's it called? And Ishtar being the queen of heaven in the Bible, and I was like, that's kind of interesting. I mean, I don't know how much of it is true, but I mean, it was a really interesting theological conference. I liked it. My absolute favorite. So one thing I hated, well, we'll do the one thing I hated first. The one thing I hated learning for all this is catechetics. I had a professor teach me catechetics. I went to took catechetics. They were like, "Hey, you have to take catechetics, and you have to study the no, not catechumen. That's what you are before. You got to study, you know, the book that Cardinal Ratzinger wrote. And man, I just could not. I could not do it. No matter what, I was like, man, you know what? I did it just to say I did it, but I am not going to teach this in my support group. It's not that it's wrong or bad. There's some great stuff in it. Really, really great stuff. Really great stuff. It's just, I could not get into it. Is that like religious education? Yeah, so there's theology. Like, theology is just more study of Christianity in general. And catechetics is the study of more specific Catholic books, including the main catechetic, like the main, what was it called? The book that Ratzinger wrote. Rat. Okay, yeah, that's it. It's the study of the Catechism of the Catholic Church. Yeah, the Catechism. Highly interesting. I took a lot of classes. So of course I have a degree in computer science, software engineering, math, and cultural anthropology. Or just anthropology. It's just anthropology in general. And then I have a associates in theology and catechetics, because they pretty much, like, if I had to learn them for the deaconship anyway, I might as well get a thing for them. I took whatever minimum amount I had to take, and then I took like 2 extra classes of each to just to get the things, to get the degrees. Because at what point, why not?
Blood. Someone was ambushed.
Daikon studies with St. Joseph's Catholic faith.
Lord Fujitaka's men ran into trouble. The blood is still fresh.
Sacred Theology. Hey, you know what, dude? Daniel, I took what I had to pursue the faith as I wanted it, like as a deacon. But honestly, if you take those, you would know, like, if that's what you're doing, you'll know more than me, because I only know just an associate's level of each. Which,
A cave.
it's what you
Good place to
get
hide.
you to know. But I honestly, I'm kind of impressed and proud. Really, that's very impressive. Yes, I forgot. My favorite book to study. Just want to dig deep as possible in scholars' academic supervision. I had a professor teach me pretty much my whole way through. Even through the deaconship. I had to take every Tuesday night. I remember every Tuesday night, 6 to 8, 2 hours. On top of school days, 2 hours they made us go to the thing for our deaconship. It was, as for me, when I was that young and stuff, and I was thrown, like, they had me do it like that, and dude, it was a lot.
I should be quiet.
But yeah.
I really thought this book would last longer. You are no match.
Yeah, so my favorite book. I'm sorry. I got sidetracked again. The game does that. It was the favorite book to study, even though it's a non-canonical book. The Book of Enoch, dude. I think there are so many interesting things to learn from the Book of Enoch that can be used. And I know it was thrown out. I know everyone's pretty much denounced it. But I just think, even if it's denounced, and I brought it up at that conference. I brought it up in front of everyone. I said, there are still important things that you can learn from this book, even though they've represented it as decanonized. But I think it's just fascinating to me, really. Yeah, I currently hold a certificate in Biblical Studies, BSR, Biblical Theology Studies, a Master in Christian Ministry, and a doctorate in Biblical Studies. I've taken some mastery coursework in religious education. You're blowing me out of the water, dude. You know so much. What the heck? I thought back in pursuing more in theology at some point. I don't know. Maybe I should. Should read work. I wrote that name down so I have it for later. I definitely will. Deals with words such as Enoch on a historical basis. I don't buy a lot of what he says necessarily, but it's a lot of good information. Do you have Verbum app? No, but I have heard of the Verbum app. some of my people in my class have brought that up to me before. Highly recommend it. It's pretty powerful. And it lets you study physical information. You know, I got a question for you. You know, obviously I've determined myself why, but what made you lean out of all the Christianities, like Christianity, Protestantism, Eastern Orthodox, definitively, why Roman Catholicism? Obvious, I chose it not just because of my father's side, but because of Saint Francis, and I had Raphael become my saint's name during thing, because he's the saint of healing and marriage, and I was hoping he would heal me. But I mean, that's a long story. But anyway, yeah. Well, tell me what brought you towards Catholicism and why you chose that over everything. It's a broad question, but an interesting one. Church history, church fathers. Martin Luther, corrupting scripture to fit his views instead of changing his views to fit the scripture. The movement of the Holy Spirit really started to fall apart for me when I realized that Martin Luther really did about the scripture, as well as realizing to avoid such traditions to their own. I say this a lot, right? And the reason I bring up this, and a lot of people in my church ask me why I carry a giant Bible, like this big. It's a study Bible. And it's written in Old English, but it has pages. It has pages from all over the place. Okay, I tried to make you can consider it blasphemy, by all means, because to be honest, it probably is if you take it in this context. I tried to make a all-around book where I fit everything that had Protestantism in it, the Catholic books, the Eastern Orthodox books, the books from Ethiopia, the non-canon books, and I tried to fit them all together. I've tried to fit the letters of Paul, the letters of thing in there, the other saint in there, and I even I drew little comparisons through it, where like this point here is where it went into Muslim territory. This is where the Quran had it differently, and then I made points here in the Old Testament where this could be more of a Jewish understanding than Christian understanding, and how they separate it, and how the Jewish is written more openly, and there's more to it, this part. It's not that it wasn't the same when I read it. And a lot of people ask me why I do that. Why can't you be happy with just the Catholic book? Why can't you just be happy with what it is? And I said I can't. I couldn't do it. I couldn't be happy with it. And that's because I grew up with my mother being Baptist, my father being Catholic, my babysitters being Baptist, my brother-in-law, my cousin-in-law being Eastern Orthodox, and my 2 cousins being Muslim. And I said, nah. It ain't right. All of these religions are Abrahamic religions. There must be a view that is incorrect. Because each one leads to separation, stagnation, and hatred. I put this whole book together, showed it to people, and said all...
Well, it's done.
Wait, Rolf, let me finish this and I'll say something. All ways lead to serving and loving the Lord, and it doesn't matter which one it is. People were not very happy with that. Nay, nay. But I stand by that belief. I will stand by the belief that each way, no matter which way you do it, as long as you love God, you're on the right path. And that's why I wrote a giant book, and I show it to everyone that comes into the church. Look at this book. All of us are the same.
Stay out of sight.
We just look at it differently. Daniel says, and when I say Roman Catholic, I mean Catholicism under the Roman Rite. I understand college is more expansive than just Roman Catholic. Yeah, true. Welcome back, Rolf. How do you feel?
Oh, man. Yeeted to my furry porn just like they were correct about. So, very good.
They were right about your furry porn. I knew it.
They were at least right about that much. Which I'm surprised about. And they're gonna be like, we were right about the furry porn, what about everything else?
Well, I thought you hated the furries.
I say I don't, I say I do. I don't know. Much like my bio and transgenderism, I don't know what I want.
Yeah. Man, you were on a journey. I did not stop talking while you were gone. Usually I stop talking for at least a minute, but I didn't. Not a single second. It was crazy.
You were talking about the word of God, so...
You're not a customer. What is your business?
My business is putting an end to yours.
Okay. I misclicked. Let's try that again. I'm interested in what Daniel thinks about that. Most people hate it. Most people think it's an awful idea.
I'm not
What I
allowed
just
to.
said, but yeah.
I should be quiet.
So Rolf, what's your opinion on the hate comments that like fundamentally can't be, if one is true, the other one can't be? Like they contradict each other. Like they're literally writing something and then the other one's writing the other.
Right. They like you love furries and then the next one's like you hate furries. Like
Yeah, it's
well, which is
literally
it? Like, make up your mind, dude. You're just projecting yourself onto that.
It's like the scammers. It's like the hate comments are like scammers. They do not know.
No, the scammers follow a script. When you break that script, they don't know what the fuck to do. These guys are just commenting on shit they don't even know about.
They don't even know
Like,
about.
after stream, I'll give you the 411 after you're done streaming and you're not too tired.
Well, hold on. I have some Deacon hate comments too that
Deacon?
were in
What's
there.
that?
Yeah, read those in there because I know they're supposed to be for the 3,000, but I would love to Daniel because even though I sit here and have the Catholic tag and stuff in my thing, there's people that hate me because I'm a deacon and there was stuff in there.
You don't believe in what's that?
Look through the hate comments, you'll find one, I'm sure.
No, the fuck's a deacon?
Face me, coward!
I'll just Google it. Never mind.
Just Google it.
Hmm.
I'm not gonna. Is your
Go on.
assertion that as long as you're pursuing God and being kind to others, you're good with God? That is not what I'm asserting. I'm asserting that as long as you put God above all else, then you're doing the right thing. It's not just about pursuing God and being kind to others. That's part of it. But I think if you make God your highest priority, no matter what religion you pursue it is, and the way you pursue it, that is what is important.
What of you? Fought him for stealing from me.
No.
Did you look it up?
Oh no, I didn't look it up yet. I'm going through Twitter.
Jeez. Yeah, dominations of Christianity. I'm including Judaism and Muslim, Islamic. But in those cases, you could also say because they don't believe in Jesus Christ, they're put into damnation. But I mean, you're being pedantic, but it's also true because that's what it says in the Bible. But if you say that Jesus and God are the same and that they still follow the one, you could also bypass that rule. But at the same time, I don't think you can because the Bible says it. So that's a different perspective. But yeah, pretty much. Rolf, how's Twitter?
Yeah, is that the dog? Oh, that's right. No.
I would like to see what Daniel thinks of this. That opinion. Because I know it's not a popular one. It's really not. It's not a popular one. I'm also waiting for Rolf to figure out what a deacon is, even though I've told him 1,000 times.
Yeah, yeah. Brain, see that hate commenter? It's in my vocabulary. Oh, he's still figuring out the other one.
I made that look easy, dude. Made it look easy. Well, I finished Tamba. Guess we're going to Key now?
Damn.
Would that be the easiest to start? Yeah, it would. We only have one region to explore left.
Oh, jeez.
But I've been walking around for 6 hours. Alright, let's see here. Daniel says he disagrees. Let's see. So I believe I disagree. First, the other two religions are not Christian. Second, there are other Christian religions that are heterodox. Third, Jews rejected Jesus to his face, and it was the Jews preach. Jesus preached that his most condemning sermons, his own people were condemned because of their unbelief. It would stand to reason that others who are not his own people would just as be condemned knowing the gospel and rejecting it. Yeah, most people. That's most people's thought, and I respect that opinion. I understand. I just feel the paradoxical ones, obviously, like don't. Yes, you can exclude some of the paradoxical ones. But I'm saying the main sects of it, the main big ones, it's not. They're not as different in the way it's written, but I think it's more.
Wasn't sure I'd ever come back here.
All
Not all the memories are bad.
Things can be perspective and things can be literal. And to me, how it is written is a perspective. But I think that is why most people disagree with me.
I can't find Mikang.
She's around here somewhere.
I looked in all of Mikang's usual hiding spots. Remember? When we painted her that day. But she wasn't in any of them. Can you find Mikang? I'm sure there are signs of her somewhere.
I think my main reasoning for that is I have I don't know how to say it. Belief that even with how it is put, as long as you put God
there.
above all else,
I think I see
you
her.
can be forgiven. And you would be forgiven. For their shortcomings and misgivings.
No way, Yasuke, look! Mikan had babies! Can we take them back with us? Please? I'll take good care of them. I promise.
Junjiro.
There are lots of animals at Auntie Tomiko's. Why can't we bring home a few more?
It's not that we can't, Junjiro. It's that we shouldn't. I know you love Mikang, but this is her home. And now she's grown up. She has a family of her own. So you have to trust her. Trust that she can take care of herself.
Dude, it's so weird that Yasuke is here. This
I'm going
game
to
is
give
not
all of it
written
to
for
Mikang before we
Yasuke to
leave.
be in the story.
He has a heart too big for his head, that Junjiro.
He's a good boy.
I have known many such people. Too vulnerable for their own good.
But they are good for the rest of us. He will build a better world atop our ashes. Just like Mikang has.
They're so beautiful, Mikang. And they're orange, like you. I wish I could bring you home with me. But it's okay. You'll be happy growing up here, little Tanuki. I was.
Aww.
Aren't tanukis like biting creatures? Don't they bite you?
Where did you come from?
We know where you came from, dude. Oh, frick. Okay, actually, I want to start here. Purple. You go to purple. You go to purple, then yellow, then assassinate, then move over to the next one. Also, Daniel didn't even know what a deacon is. I mean, not Daniel. Daniel. Rolf didn't even know what a deacon is, even though he's Catholic. It's sad. It's very sad. It's sad. It's disappointing, actually. Which religion the scriptures that are Theopenustos? God. Prenustos. Blown? God blown? God breathed, God blown. I mean, I was pretty close, right? I was pretty close. God breathed, God blown. I'm going to say I'm pretty close. Indeed. Okay, so, let's see here. I gotta try. Okay, so I believe that's more. No. God, breathe God below. Didn't they? Doesn't that wait? Doesn't that mean the same thing as God inspired, written by God because it was inspired by God? Where Paul said that all scriptures are inspired by God.
Way to stay safe is to stay hidden.
More Cleophulo, if I'm getting that right. I just want to make sure. Also, we were making fun, Rolf. Somehow you're Catholic and didn't know what a deacon is. Inspired is the word that's sometimes used in the translation, but it means God breathed it out himself. Okay. Yeah, so I got it. So which religion is that? As far as I know, that's all modern Christianity believes that. Even Catholics believe that. Did you look it up yet, by the way?
I haven't. I just had some cereal right now.
Okay.
I don't want to know anymore. I feel like it's bad.
It's not bad. You're in the same area. All scripture is God breathed. Yeah, exactly.
I saw that. We cannot. Bring me your swords.
That's all modern Christianity. So did God simply breathe out a perspective of a man, or was it God's perspective? No. It was God's perspective. I take it as if you could say God wrote it himself, and it is perfect as if he was written it. What I disagree with is I think that it was tampered with. The perspective is not accurate because I don't believe that a group of people can determine which one is correct. And that's what I was trying to say. So he rejects who's rejected his Christ, especially concerning the revealed about him. So what does God say when he rejects those reject his Christ, especially concerning? Well, they're set to damnation. And that's in all of them. That's not just in one. Rolf, did you look it up yet?
No, I'm just going through Twitter.
Are there any biblical manuscripts about that? Variances. only in it would only be if you consider Jewish and Muslim Abrahamic religions, which wouldn't include it. In Eastern, not Eastern, in Ethiopian, they say, they don't say it's like his Christ, they say it's, like God in the person, but it's very much similar. Do any of the manuscripts which supposedly been tampered with vary from each about those who reject who've been demanded? Not the ones that I conduct as legitimate. So I would say no. None that I hold water. When it gets late at night, people leave. You notice that, bro? Rolf?
What?
I said, you notice that people leave when it gets late at night during the streams?
Yeah, it's crazy. Because it's late for people, dude. Man, but the dawn of everything really do be streaming for 50 plus hours a day.
50 plus hours a day. Alright, let's see. If non-contradict, then they are not tampered with. If they are not tampered with, and they are God-breathed, being written as he wanted them to be, it must hold the truth those who reject Christ, including Jews and Muslims. Right, but I disagree in the way they're condemned. I don't think they're condemned to like hell, all fire, eternity. I think they're condemned to purgatorio, basically, until they come to terms with how they are.
Apple. Okay.
Again, I don't think it's wrong. I just don't think it's necessarily right, is what I'm trying to say. I believe hell is a concept, not a... I believe the Catholic Church teaches that purgatory is only for those who are saved and destined forever. That is true. Now we're talking about people who never heard the gospel. Common ground for the ground to work with. For those who have indeed heard, however, their destiny is secured and severed from God's love because they willingly rejected it. For his love and how it's been revealed. Okay, so we can agree there. But what I say is eternal damnation in itself is not something I can agree with. As it is written, I believe eternal damnation is a cycle of repetition until you get it right. So I read in an old study that was done, and it was by the Eastern Orthodox Church, that one of their bishops believed that basically God had you learn from your experiences on earth and would have you do it until you came to the conclusion that you needed to learn. And I believe that cycle that he was talking about is the hell they're referring to. Or hell is the place where you go to learn where you have failed in life. And for some people, it could be considered eternal damnation because they never get it right. Or refuse to understand what they needed to learn. And at that point, it's also eternal. What? Are you confused, Rolf?
No.
Oh. Oh, okay.
I'm just agreeing with you.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely.
I think it's highly interesting. You should hear my perspective on Lucifer and Satan, though. One of my perspectives on Lucifer and Satan that's highly unique to most people is I do not believe they are the same person. I believe Lucifer was sent into hell to learn a lesson. And he's the commander of hell, right? But I think Satan was an angel for deception and judgment. For those to... The great tempter, basically. He was made to tempt people away from God, to test their faith. Is that the revelation about hell that God has breathed? The king of Tyre is not the same person. Though they are given the same personage on account of the prophet speaking to the adversary of his empowerment, the evil king's throne. Man, I like the way you put that a lot. Hold on. I like the way you put that. I'm going to keep that. Hold on, I'm gonna take this. I want to take this.
Okay. Hells yeah. You win, but I'm still not. God. Enough of that. Oh man. That's crazy, Don. That's crazy. No. I'm okay, because I'm gonna ask again next time it comes up anyway, so there's no point. Special small Trump brain, remember? But on the bright side,
This is the first time I got up to go to the bathroom, and it's been like almost 7 hours. Want to go through some questions?
yeah, sure. I'm full of Honey Nut Cheerios, 2% milk. I'm ready for more thingamabobs.
I have a whole list of questions about Elon. You want to talk about Elon?
Oh, Facebook, Twitter guy? Okay.
Oh, it's a castle and pages? Okay. Do you think colonizing Mars is genius or delusional?
Kind of both. I don't want to call it delusional because I'll be a hot take.
Do you think Neuralink is a dream, or do you think it's a creepy set, creepy and overreach of electricity?
It's pretty cool.
Daniel, I kept your explanation there because I'm going to use that in the future. I think it's actually very, very informative. I like the way you put it there. Let's see here. Do you think Elon's anti-stimulus 5 is an aesthetic, or is it something he's trying to convince you of?
Probably trying to convince us.
So you're saying you don't think he believes it?
Yes.
Yeah, probably. I wouldn't put it past him. Let's see here. What's your take on Teslas being burned and exploded?
You're wasting your money, dude. You're spending however amount of money just to get a car and put it up in fire. So I don't know what you want, man.
No, wait. What do you mean?
Because they're buying the cars and exploding them, right?
No. They're buying the car. No, they're lighting other people's cars on fire.
Oh no, that's fucked up, dude. That's not your car.
You didn't notice that? That's what they've been doing this
No.
whole... Yeah, the whole Tesla lighting up cars or other people's cars.
I thought they were burning their own car. I thought they were like going to Tesla themselves and burning up the car there.
No.
Dude, you can't do that.
That's what they're doing.
You better pay them back for the money, dude.
No, they're not. That's the whole thing. That's why it's becoming a big problem. And Trump labeled them as terrorists.
You can't do that, man.
Yeah, they're blowing up people's Teslas.
Dude, no, that's not your car.
They want electric vehicles, but then destroy electric cars.
Yeah. Like that's the thing. Like,
Exactly.
I saw a meme.
Yeah.
I saw a meme where they're like, when your parents fought for your right to be peaceful and to have an easy life, and then they see you relaxed and having a peaceful life, and then at the bottom it says, when your parents see you have an easy life and get mad at you because they worked for your easy life. You know? Like, that's contradicting itself, yeah? Like, hey, I worked hard for my kid to have a nice and easy life. But now that I see that my kid is having a nice and easy life, I'm mad at them because I struggled. How come they don't struggle?
I've heard that one before, yeah. I mean, this is not even the other thing. Teslas are actually, like, it's not, like, I wouldn't buy an electric car. I drive an Acura.
I just don't like electric cars, man.
Right? That's what I like to drive. I have an Acura. But, did I tell you someone hit the front of my car the other day? I was pissed.
Why?
He rammed his car into the front of my car. I have no idea. But anyway, like I was saying, yeah, the electric cars. Did you know in PA they're only like 16,000 for the cheapest model, brand new?
Oh. You know what I can do with that much money?
What?
Get a lot of basket of fries from McDonald's.
Oh, well, too bad you don't have them where you live. Also,
too bad I have to go and visit the Dawn of Everything to get my basket of fries.
I think RFK Jr. is doing, or whatever, Bobby Kennedy. I think Bobby Kennedy's doing an amazing job as health secretary. Oh, what?
Oh shit! Oh shit!
What?
Okay. Guess I'm gonna return. Holy fuck, dude.
I'm allergic to like food coloring. Daniel gets to learn a lot about me. I'm allergic to like food coloring, and he's like getting rid of it to altogether, which should have been done years ago. And replacing it with organic food coloring, and like Europe has. And that is good news for me to hear. I don't have to watch what I eat again. Alright, let's go to the next one here. Did you see Elon Musk holding a fork on a knife with his pinky at a presidential dinner? He did that? Wait a second, what? Rolf, can you look that up on Twitter? Did he do that? Rolf? Did he leave? Bruh. There he is. Hey Daniel, how did you find your way to Twitch? Not to my channel, you know, I said asked that before, I know how, but how did you find your way to Twitch? Like, do you play a lot of games? I used to. So, Daniel, that's a giant wall of video games. And back there. Those are all video game cases. Whenever I'm not at church, or at game night, or a support group, I sit here and play video games. Yeah. Yeah. This is... Yeah. That's pretty much all I do. And I've been doing that since my ability to move. When I go outside, I start coughing and I don't do very well. So, I mean, I spend a lot of time in here. Because there's not, I can't do much outside of this. Well, you got any questions for me? You want to ask me something? Like, I don't know. Kind of interested. It doesn't, like, I mean, just in general. You could ask me something religious if you want, my opinion on something, but in general, you know, ask me about me or anything. Where's your Okay, what is your understanding of the impassibility of the divine? Impassibility of the divine. Hold on. Hold on. Now, hold on. I agree that God is self-sufficient and unchanging, but I disagree that he can't suffer pain or his emotions are ever the same. Because I feel like when people sin, it makes them sad. And I do believe that he can get angry. He was angry with in the Old Testament. He got pissed a lot in the Old Testament, put it bluntly. So I think his emotions definitely have a factor. But as for the other parts, I completely agree. Other than the emotion thing, I completely agree with it. I'm very confused here. It's down there. Is that about what you were expecting my answer to be? I was expecting it to be something along those lines. not necessarily the right answer.
That was a good fight.
Man, I suck. Did I get it at least? Did I get it? No. I didn't get it. I think describing God as having emotion is very difficult. Because the way we understand emotion is through physical experiences and are driven and modified by hormones, various neurologics, etc. God, however, is not physical except a person of Christ, Jesus. But, I mean, if we were made in his image, wouldn't he have a similar characteristic with emotions and pain and anger? He is also a spiritual being, does not experience them the same way as we do. No, I don't think he does experience the same way as we do. No, I disagree. I don't think they're experienced the same way as we do, but I do think he has emotions in his own way. Believe that God has various emotions. Believe various emotions of God, love, hate, etc. are anthropomorphisms, okay, designed for us to understand some degree of his transcendent nature. I gotta think about that. No, I agree with that. I can agree with that. But I think referring to them as emotions is an alright for someone to understand them. To what extent we are created in his image is a variant. To what extent is a variant between theologian? Do we have emotions? But does that mean he has them too? He has bodies. He has a body too? I would say he has a body, a spiritual body, not a physical one, but I could see his spiritual body being similar to our physical body. Because if we are made in his image, where did he get the concept of our body if it did not look like his spiritual body at minimum? We do not affect God. God affects us. This is true. What, did I say something that contradicted that? I don't think so. I don't think so. Because I said, if we have physical bodies and we're based off of how he sees himself, then wouldn't our physical bodies be based off his spiritual body? To an extent.
Hey, now what? This one cannot live.
The same place got concept for Earth, Pluto, the stars, etc. God having produced a concept of something doesn't apparently that he is somehow made up in something similar to fashion. Yeah, but he specifically said we are made up in his image. So like he could say just our mind is made up, or just our soul is made up in his image, mind is made up in his image, or body could be made up in his image. If you look at all of them, like, you'll never know which one is correct, but you could say that any of them can be. I think that's an answer that you just can't determine. If we lose our bodies, do we cease to be us? No, I disagree with that statement. I don't think you would, or well, that's a question, but no, I think you don't cease to be us. In the same lines, when we go up to heaven, do we still look like us in heaven, or do we look like a giant ball of light? Well, that's an idea that we don't know either. Up in heaven, we might look just like we are now. Maybe less aged or more, or such. I hate the monks so much. How will we look without our eyes to see? Well, if we're getting into the hypotheticals, I would say we all share a plane of existence where in heaven we won't see us, we will see what we presume the other person is, what we presume, what memory, what the other things are. We're all connected, and you'll be able just to determine and talk to the others as if they are there. It's a it's not about being able to see. It's about being connected to those on a spiritual level, and that's how you'll determine who's there and what they look like. So then our physical image is unimportant when we are comparing ourselves to the imagino die. Okay. It must be something deeper, more transcendent, more spiritual than a preclude emotions as we know them.
I should take a look.
You could... Okay, so what you're saying is true, right? You're saying is true. But without the word that describes the emotional state of God, it is a fine word to use, because I still think God's state of being that very transcends our very existence, the omniscient, still has the effects at that period of time where he is in all time, changes his mood, let's say, based on what he's seeing at that very instance of time that he is currently in, since he is in all time. I hope that made sense without being confusing.
The big ones prepare for quite the journey. See? They're readying the sails.
Okay.
I forgot you were Yasuke the sailor before Yasuke the samurai.
Hardly. But I have been on many ships.
Well, what's it like?
Well, there is the seasickness. Long days on the deck in sun or rain. You grow tired of the spoiled rations. But there are also the sunrises and sunsets. You chase the light. Even when you do not catch it, they are the stars.
And when you got to land, what did you find?
You would be surprised. It is a world divided by treaty. Conquered before their boat even touches the shore. Even this one, at least. That is what they think.
More division. I was hoping for something else.
I have also seen churches that are more art than architecture. I have smelled spices so fragrant, one sniff is a punch to the nose. And the clothing. Oh, you should have seen what they put me in when I arrived.
You didn't keep it for parties?
Surely Lord Nobunaga had it burned. It is a dark world chasing its own light. A realm of exploration. Those same kings who sent conquerors sent men in search of knowledge, discovery.
The explorers must be brave.
Yes. They sail into the unknown.
Then let's go. Out there. I want to see it for myself. We'll steal a boat.
All right. You will flop on the deck like a fish to distract them while I push the captain overboard.
No, I'll push the captain overboard and you'll flop on the deck to distract them, wearing the outfit you arrived in.
Oh, you think so?
This is kind of sweet.
I have a better idea. I say we stay. For now. I do not know about you, but I like it here.
It's far from perfect. But I guess the world out there isn't perfect either.
We do not need perfection for peace. Once we have it, perhaps I will wave to you from the shore as you set sail, explorer.
We'll see. One day I'll get out in the world. But not before we make this one a safer place for our people.
Why wouldn't Nawe want to leave? What was that? What? Wait. I mean, that was a sweet cutscene, but Nawe was so obsessed with her home that why would she want to leave? Like, wait. That contradicts what she was trying to do earlier. Dude. Who wrote this? Welcome back. Daniel, have you noticed how much nothing and how much running around I'm done in this game? Hit the hay? Oh, I understand. Okay, well, before you leave, tell me your opinion on the concept I said with God's mood, but there's not a different word that I can use for mood, but I would like to hear your opinion before you leave. I am interested on that concept. I was kind of waiting for a response, because I was very interested, actually. You are correct, and that is one of the major points. We can only use words and ideas to describe the eternal truth of thinking. However, it's always our words, thoughts, and ideas pale in comparison with like awesomeness that God actually is. Daniel, I'm going to steal that for my support group, the end of it. The eternally translucent nature and below, if you don't mind, and I'm gonna recite that. I'll make sure to put it. I'm gonna recite that word for word in the support group. I think that's a great way to put it, especially for some of the young people in the group. Next time we talk about the rock that God created, that he could not lift. So I got to see Michael's rock. This is a different rock than that rock, but I got to see the relic that Michael, like the touch that Michael he stood on the mountain, touched this rock, and it started glowing. It is in like one of it's in the possessions of the Catholic Church, and it was super cool to see. It looked like a rock, but it was cool. It's a cool rock though. Also, I mean, next time, if God made a rock that he could not lift, he could make the rock that he could lift. But he chose to make the rock that he could not lift. So, this, I actually had this question already, by the way, Daniel. My old mentor asked me this question. And he said, he said, is the liar lying to you? Okay? And this is how he described it, my mentor. If the liar always lies and he's lying to you, he says he's lying, then he's telling the truth. But he can't be telling the truth because he always lies. Right? It's an unsolvable mystery. But it's not. Because you can't take the fundamentals away from the beginning of the sentence. So if the liar is lying to you and he always lies, two negatives make a positive. That means he's telling the truth. And if he's telling the truth, that means he's lying. So, thus, whatever you said, he's lying. So when God makes a rock, and he can do anything, and the rock he cannot lift. He made the rock, so he cannot lift the rock. Okay? So, the rock cannot be lifted. But he can undo what he made the rock to do to lift. Thus, he can lift the rock, but he made it so he cannot lift the rock. So can he lift the rock? At the time he created it, he cannot lift the rock to make the rock be lifted, but he can make the rock be lifted by him if you desire to lift the rock. To say they cannot lift the rock, then God is not omnipotent, therefore it ceases to be God. That is exact. Look, you said it much quicker and easier, but I was giving, like, the back and forth me and my mentor had between the lying paradox and God's paradox here. But basically, yeah, God can lift the unliftable rock. It's just that's the conclusion. God did create the rock that he could not lift. It still did not cease to be God. Well, that is because God could make the rock that he could not lift a rock that he could lift if he wanted to. That's the whole thing. If he can do one thing, he can do the other. Just how the lying man lies. Stupid law of idioms.
What has made you stoop so low?
Okay. Oh, weird.
You must be stopped. Will not get away with that.
I don't think I was supposed to kill him. Okay, both of these require stuff. Cannot do yet. There's too much, dude. Too much in this game. It's overwhelming. But yeah, I mean, he related it back to that, but I think the answer is obviously God can do whatever he wants. He made a rock that he could not move because he wanted to make the rock he could not move. If he wanted to make it move, then he could undo what he made and make it move. Thus, he keeps his omnipotence. What rank am I? 107, 11? What is the law of idioms? I'm not sure. If it's an idiom, then whatever you can say about God, you can say about Jesus. Whatever you can say about Jesus, you can say about God, because Jesus is God. That's true. Okay. Well, it's true, and you can also say that the Spirit is also God. If Jesus is God, and God is God, Spirit is God, because Spirit is part of God. But yeah, true. That's the law of idioms. I did not remember that. I'm going to be honest. I did not remember that. But, okay. True. That makes sense.
I need to keep out of sight.
Please be nothing. Oh, it is nothing. Well, who cares about this? Anyway, well, I appreciate you coming. I'm glad you found me, because honestly, compared to most people that come in, I enjoy these conversations. They make me think more and question things more. A lot of people at my church, they don't think about just religion in general. Like, they think about the religion, but they just kind of go with the flow without questioning or coming with a concept of anything. So it's actually super interesting to hear someone with the same thought process as this. So Jesus agonized in the garden. He was flogged and beaten, pillar almost beyond recognition. So much blood, crown of thorns, possibly causing felt distortion, but having full awareness of what was happening. Dragged back from mock trial overnight, then plate and rejected by his own people. That about right? I mean, he was also, I mean, he was beaten, he was whipped? That could fall under beaten, but he was whipped too. Yeah, okay. Yeah, sounds about right. I'm being pedantic, which I shouldn't be. Not a trick question. They're just saying. Okay, yes. Alright. When they marched him cavalry, what did he have? His cross? He had him carry the cross. What happened 3 times? He fell down. Again, the Good Samaritan helped him, right? Or no? Well, frick, wasn't Good Samaritan. But his friend helped him in the end. He fell under the weight of the cross because of his beatings. God created a rock or a cross that he could long. He fell under the weight of the cross because of the servant being. God created a rock or a cross that he could no longer carry. I mean, if you say that's an oxymoron, you would be right. But you could also say at the time, God and Jesus were not separate. They are both one, and God are one and the same. Let me think about this. No. Because if Jesus was made for all the perspectives of humanity, including that, thus that he could be tempted by even Satan himself, I think it is fair to say that when he was carrying the cross, it was not created that he could not carry it. It was created that Jesus was to be the perfect human as well as God. So, while he was the Son of God, he was not in that instance God the Father. Thus, there was no rock or the cross that God could not carry at that moment. Is that saying God is not God? No, it is saying. What? But God could carry the cross because he placed Simon Siren to help him carry it. So they carry all the way. What I'm saying is that God, becoming man, put himself in the position not able to put the cross in his humanity. But whatever you say about Jesus, you could say about God. Whatever you say about Jesus, you could say about God. Yes, but God also had a. If you could say about Jesus and say about God, then you could say that Jesus got upset. He did not only forgive, he also had the emotions of anger. But that could be like The Immaculate Conception. Hold on. Then you're back to this topic if God has to do with emotions. Because then you could say, well, Jesus had emotions. So if you're saying that you could do either of that, then God also had emotions. But if you're saying God is too translucent, it cannot be both unless both concepts are similar enough that they are equal but not the same. So, like, you could say they're congruent outcomes, but they are not the same outcomes. So there's a concept, and I can relate this to computer science. Okay. Two things can be the same, right? You got two things. It's this or that. These two things are the same, right? But this is in state 1, this is in state 2. Thus, they are congruent, they're the same, and yet one can only do one thing, the other can only do the other because they're in two different states. So they are both the same and different. You're correct. God did get angry when Jesus got angry, but you have to understand Jesus acted in a human way. God did in God's way. You can understand Jesus' emotion responses, but does not mean you understand God's way of doing so. Yeah, that's what I was trying to say with this stupid finger analysis where one does one way, one does the other. They're the same, but they're in two different states. So one's here, one's here. So if you put an equal sign, it would say that they're equal, but they can't do the same thing. Frick. Alan Turing came up with that concept. When he was working on a computer made out of the first mechanical computer. There was no programming. He made a computer using blocks up and down. And while he was doing that, he came up with that concept. Because he couldn't figure out how to assign something without assigning it to another place. It's in here somewhere. It has to be. Do you agree that, at least within the Christian framework, God is the only true free agent who can act as his own will as he chooses? Yeah. I feel like every human being is latched to divine providence. Every saint is latched to divine providence. Every person, every father is latched to divine providence. God is that divine providence. Thus, he is only the one that's truly free. Can God choose something against his own will? Have you ever played Shin Megami Tensei? Because the third or second one is literally about the concept. of God choosing something that God did not want. Sir, what now? Shin Megami Tensei. I'm going to take that as a no. Yeah, so basically, this is going to sound stupid, but I'll explain it, how they had it. In the game, there's different endings. And there's law, there's order and law, there's chaos, and then there's neutral. Chaos was you sided with Lucifer and his end of God's tyranny to control everything, to give people true freedom. But God, being order, it wasn't about control. He was trying to love. You could choose order. You could choose God. And all of his angels and all of that. Neutral means, you chose the human path yourself. You didn't choose God or the devil. But in choosing, in one of the endings, they just said, God chose to put his faith in you, and you chose to do something against the own will of God because of your human. And God said that's not possible in the game. He said it's not possible. Because he said that he was inside you, basically. But you do it anyway. You do it anyway, because, well, this is obviously a game. And that was the whole neutral ending was God chose to make you to do something against not choosing him, which goes against his own will. Because, I think it's in the second one that, you aren't just, if God willed create the heavens and the earth, could he have chosen not to do so? No, he could not have willed not to do so. I would say him choosing to create the heavens and the earth was preordained by himself. He preordained himself to do it. So he could not have chosen not to do so. And that does not remove his omnipotency either, because he himself ordained himself to do it. That being, before there was heaven and earth, before he created all of time and all of everything, he was already there. He already knew he was going to do it. So thus, it was already done. So is God bound by his will, not being free to choose against his will? That's a trick question. That's a trick answer, because he never chooses to go against his will. Because no. This is a trick here. God is bound by his will, but not free to choose against his will. But he is not bound to his will, because he is not free to choose his will. He's already chosen his will, and at one period of time, he'll always go forward to this period of time, because he's in both places at once. He never had a will in the first place. He was always going to do one thing, because he already knows he's going to do it, because he's here and there at the same time. There is no bound to the will or the will that he chose, because he was always going to do it. There was no difference between this point and that point. Because he's still one and the same. This also means that he is truly free, because he's not bound by the will. He's already done it. He wanted to do it. So then God is bound by time. What? I'm just asking, dig a little deeper. So then God is bound by time. No. He lives outside of time. If he is here and he is here at the same time, then these two periods of time to him are the same time. Okay? So if his will here, right, he sees something at this point of this time, this one automatically gets that information of that time. Thus, the will of this one, even though this would be in the future, is the will of the one in the past, because they're the same person anyway, because he's at all times. Even though they're at different times, he's still at this time and this time at the same time. So there is no going against his own will, because his deal is at the same time. If he is outside time, how can he do anything in past or future tense or even present tense? Well, that's easy. That's easy. If he is outside time, here, we'll call it the ether. This is the ether. Alright? He is outside in the ether. And the concept of the ether is he can enter a period that he would enjoy. Now remember, he's still over here in the ether below. But when he is in this point, this one, right, has determined that he will, because it's still him, enact and endeavor and change at that period what he needs to do. And he does this constantly. He's always watching. Okay? So just because he can change something outside of time, which he is, he's outside of time. He is both the past, because he chose to go into the past, or he chose to go into the future. So if you say he's going into the future, one, this does not create a paradox. Because paradox means you're changing the past to change the future. But he's outside of time. So he's changing the past and the future and the present all at the same time constantly. Because there's no limitations on his brain. There's no limitations on what he's thinking. And since he can be everywhere and do everything at the same time, he does. Because time is just a concept to him. Because he lives outside of time. That made me sound crazy. That made me sound pretty crazy, but I hope I said it in a good way. Nice answer. I try, but it makes me sound like an insane person when I say it like that. Me and the conversations I have with you really remind me of the time. Kind of makes me a little sad. Really reminds me of the time I had talking to my old mentor that we would have. I would meet him after class and meet him for coffee and meet him, and we would just talk stuff like this. We would just talk like this, these concepts over and over. And he would bring out a chessboard. He was really old. He would bring out a chessboard. And he would plop it down, and we would just talk about it and play chess. games and games and hours of chess. It was nice. Would you agree that God does not exist? This is a trick question. I would say God exists in all of us as the Spirit. Would you say he doesn't exist, as in he isn't always watching? He doesn't exist on our physical realm at the moment, but he's also in all of us. So doesn't he exist in the physical realm? Yeah, I would say so. He's everywhere. But isn't that why he made angels? Because angels come to earth. I mean, I would say God the Father doesn't exist in our realm at the moment. But he could if he wanted to. Is that the answer? I would say God does not exist. Okay. What did you think of my answer? And I want to know why you think he doesn't exist. Because I would say, I think it's just God the Father. This is a trick question. And I think it's just God the Father that doesn't exist in our realm of existence. Because I think the Spirit does. And the Word of God does. Because you can say the Word of God is the Bible, and the Bible himself is God. And that could be on our plane of existence as well. Exist. X out of is being, exists being out of something. God does not come out of anything. God is always has been and always will be, just not exist. God is being. I don't know how I feel about that. It's definitely a concept I've never... Alright, I got a question for you. I do. What do you think of repetitious prayers? Because, so, I do the rosary, but whenever I do the rosary or assign someone else to do the rosary, I always have the rosary assigned to them to do prayers without repetition. Not the same, like, don't do 15, do the amount of the rosary requested, all fathers in a row. Because I feel as if that is a bad repetitious and God does not like it. I assign different prayers for each setup. Because I feel like it is bad for having repetitious prayers. Because I believe it is said somewhere that repetitious prayers like that is against his pragmation. I don't get to use that word often. Ask your question again, please. Okay. Repetitious prayers. What do you think of repetitious prayers? Because I think repetitious prayers should not be allowed, because I remember prayers should not be done in succession to God like that, to spacing them when they're important. And when I assign rosaries, or when I need to for confession or whatever, I always assign them as different prayers. Not like do 15 All Fathers, do an All Father, Mary and Grace, and a bunch of different ones that you know. Or say, come with a concept of your own prayer for so-and-so reason, here, here, and here. You know, like, do this concept, come up with a concept here. Because I think repetitious prayers go against the whole concept of what God wanted a prayer to be, not just to praise Him, but to actually learn, because He wants to know that you care about Him and you talk to Him about your life. So I want to know your opinion on repetitious prayers. Okay. But do you think even then it shows... How do I say this? Even then, isn't the whole point being missed if you don't share something new with God? It's supposed to be a conversation that you're talking to Him. Having something done in a row like that, I feel, is against the whole purpose. By the way, am I blind? I've been wandering around this same temple grounds, and I cannot find the last two scrolls for the life of me. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. No idea. What is this place called? No, because the idea of repetitions are designed to raise completion. These are being new insights to the person praying. It is not so much about giving new information, God, but God giving new information to the person praying at these complications. I can agree to that, but I also disagree because it's not giving God new information. God has all the information anyway. It's that God likes to hear the information from you. That's why when I give prayers, I don't just assign prayers that receive information from Him, guidance from Him. It's also caring about God, showing that you truly love Him, and I think that's the most important part. He's not just there. He's a dad. Dads care about their sons, and they want to hear from them, or daughters. So when I say prayer, they should not just be given at repeat for your own benefit. Because you wouldn't want that. You would want to see some love from you. I mean, that's how I see it. And sometimes to gather information and give information might lead you to insights yourself. That's the prayer. Repeating the information to him, letting him know, might possibly give you the insight you need in the first place. Sometimes God has to give us new information so that we can reflect on the information back to God. We still, all we ever had of our typical prayer. Not spiritually healthy. However, sometimes we need new information about the God. We go and reflect back to new information or new deeper synthesis of information. Or you can figure gives us. I could stand to agree with that. Yeah, I can stand to agree with that one. With the yes. Yes. I think that is a good way to put it, actually. I'm looking it up. All right, here we go. What the heck? I never would have... Here. Okay.
Answer my riddle and earn yourself some more.
Did I do this? In here? I think I got the one that's here. I'll hold on. I'll answer the thing in 1 second. Let me just. So I'm not here for 1,000 years. Let me do this. What? Do I wait? What? 3 of 5. Here. Okay. Yeah, I never would have figured that out. I never would have went outside. What is the adoration like when people are in church? Are they just sit there in adoration, or what? The adoration, the presence of Christ in the Eucharist, in the tabernacle. Is the presence of Christ in the Eucharist at the tabernacle? So, at my church, we have a... I'll put this in multiple parts. We have a place you can go where there's a Eucharist that is replaced every day, made in the morning. And it's in a special glass seal that you can go and sit by to feel. You can feel it. You can sit by it. You can pray next to it. And it sits there, and a priest makes it every morning, like not makes it, but blesses it every morning. In the first ceremony, they keep one and put it in the glass. The adoration for God. Again, I do most of the support groups, and I'll tell you what I feel first. I'll tell you my situation with the young people, because I was born in 2001. I'm Gen Z, and I get a lot of Gen Z people. Like a lot of people. Unlike most, they don't understand. They don't see it. They don't grasp it. They don't have the concept of it. They can't wrap their heads around. This era of the world has it's I don't know. It's not that they're corrupted. They just take longer. First, you'll see them not realize it, pretend like it's nothing. I had a but then at the same time I had a man. He was a gay prostitute. This man came into church with assless chaps. Assless chaps. And he had pink and blue hair. And that man sat among and started crying. The admiration he had when he entered that church. Adoration, I'm sorry. The adoration. It was unfathomable, And I see it. It's that they grow and they change. They realize their ways at some point. And you can't really tell them. You can't tell them when they grow. You have to let it... You can guide them. But this day and age, they don't really see it. It's that they're surrounded by all this yuck of the world. And they can't get past it. Some of the older folk come in and they sit there, and I see them feel like it's the last moment, down on their knees and potence, okay? And it's amazing, What are they adoring? The Eucharist? You could say the Eucharist. You could say,
A shinobi, friend or foe?
I am now
what's there?
of the Kakushiba Ikki.
Ah, I believe you are acquainted with the abbot of the Iko-Iki, Kyonyo. I am his father, Kenyo, though he and I have been on different paths for some time now.
Since you signed the peace treaty with Oda Nobunaga, something Kyonyo could not agree to.
While my desire for peace
how do I say it?
brought many
Where
together,
I'm at,
it caused a division between Kyonyo
I
and
can't
me.
see
It cost us our bond, and now
this
it
admiration
cost Kyonyo his life.
Kyonyo is in danger?
I am told
or
he was
adoring.
attacked, ambushed by bounty hunters.
They were
Under whose
plagued to
orders
see.
I am unsure. I had hoped we
They
could
are
reconcile,
plagued
but
to...
now
I know the pain of things left unsaid between a father and child. All
I don't
too well.
feel adoration
What can you tell me of these
I don't
bounty
feel it.
hunters?
with the
this is
people when
all
they
I
come in.
know.
This will
It's
help.
like something is
I will
lost
deal with his hunters.
with the group I have.
Rest assured, Kyonyo will be safe.
Older folk,
And
they
if I
have
may,
it. They have it. But something is
Once
lost
this
with
is
young.
over, speak with your son.
What are they
Or
adoring?
it will
In a
haunt you.
direct way?
Trust me.
It's
on
not
this.
idols. They don't adore idols. If you're asking what they adore the presence. The actual presence that's there around you. Not whatever you see. I would say they adore the presence. But what I don't see is what I do see. What I do see is people adoring things as if they are there. Not the atmosphere like they should or the presence. People look at something, be like, wow, look at that statue of Mary. Let me pray near it. Look at the cross. Let me pray near it. Without grasping the concept of what they should be adoring. That's the problem that I have with right now. And I can't find a way to get through the people's heads. That was a little bit of a rant. It was a little bit of a rant. It was just a rant that's been on my head for a little while. It was a little bit of a rant. My bad. Did I put that at least in a concept that's sort of understanding? Helps. I looked it up. It's also called Eucharistic Adoration or Expedition of the Blessed Sacrament. Jesus in the years. In Jesus that they are adoring. Yeah. Okay. Some pray rosary, some pray scripture. Others silent adore. Yeah. You would think that. But many people that I have in my group that aren't the nuns, of course. I have younger nuns and they're amazing. They're amazing. The young nuns are amazing. Absolutely wonderful. They're wonderful people. I don't curse. I don't like to curse. But I'm gonna put it bluntly and I'm gonna say it as it is. It's like they don't give a shit that they're there. And it's sad. It's sad and depressing. What are they adoring? It's like they're going through the freaking motions. It's like their parents wanted them to be there, and then they were forced to go. And they just don't handle it. Now, of course, I help. Some people come for real, genuine problems, but especially the high school-esque or sometimes to like late college, unless they had a major problem that they're dealing with, like an abortion or going through some sort of cheating. It's like they don't even recognize that they're there, where they are, or how amazing it is. I literally can't see anything. Game, you want to help me out here? Game. Game. What is going on? I can't. Is this wall like I gotta be up? Alright, bro. Get up. Get up. Broski. What is happening? Why can't you get up? Oh. Oh, no. You just walked on up. You just walked on up. Just like that. That's how, just one. Okay. No, that's fine. Okay.
I need to keep out of sight.
What, is there anything up here? Bruh, doesn't end, dude. Dude, this place is bigger than like all of the other ones. That's it. I'm going to bed. I've been playing 8 hours. I can't take any more of this game tonight. I can't do it. Good night. Thanks for the conversations. Yeah, anytime. This is great. I would love to have more of these sometime. Bully. I'll tell you, this is better actually. I'm just trying to get everything settled to save. I hate that. Okay, we'll do this. I'm gonna slip out. Good night, good sir. God bless. God bless you and Godspeed. You enjoy the rest of your night and have a good night's sleep. Okay. Alright guys, thank you all for watching, and y'all have a good one. Good night.